Imagine approaching your living situation kind of like a financial hermit crab.
A hermit crab.
Yeah.
I like where this is going.
Right. Because, instead of abandoning your old shell when you outgrow it, you simply rent it out to someone else. And then you move into a slightly bigger, newer one.
Yeah, you just keep accumulating the shells over time.
Exactly. And if you're listening to this deep dive, you probably already understand the basics of real estate investing. But what we're about to explore today is this highly systematic blueprint that takes that whole hermit crab concept and just supercharges it.
It really does.
Mm.
We're looking at a model that leverages like artificial intelligence, brand new construction, data-driven smart homes, and surprisingly enough, human physiology to build generational wealth.
I know the physiology part really caught me off guard, but let's unpack this from the top.
Let's do it.
So this specific architectural framework for wealth, it comes straight from the educational materials of New Home University.
Right, which is heavily driven by the strategies of Jubril Wilson.
Mm.
That's pronounced Jubril, by the way. Most people in the industry just know him as Coach JB.
Yeah, Coach JB. And what makes this deep dive into his materials so compelling is how he synthesizes all these seemingly unrelated fields. If you're tracing the genesis of this blueprint, it really crystallizes around two major fact-finding trips that Coach JB and his team took down in Texas.
Texas, right. First, you have the Keller-Williams Mega Camp 2026 in San Antonio.
Which is basically all about the macro trends in real estate, right?
Exactly. And then they follow that up with this intensive stint in Austin with John Lee, focusing purely on AI and digital lead generation.
And it seems like the core takeaway from all that wasn't just, use more technology. It was this fundamental shift in the unit economics of how real estate professionals operate.
Yeah, I mean, the underlying logic here is entirely driven by consumer behavior. Think
Yeah.
about it. 5 years ago, an agent held the keys to the multiple listing service. They were the ultimate gatekeeper of information.
Right, you had to go through them.
Totally. But today, if you are a prospective buyer, you've already parsed all the neighborhood data on Zillow.
Oh, for sure. You're watching like 4K drone footage of communities on YouTube from your couch.
Exactly. And you're running complex prompt sequences in ChatGPT to model your amortization schedules long before you ever speak to a human being.
Yeah, the realization from that Austin trip with John Lee was basically that agents can no longer monetize being mere door openers.
Well, they can't. They have to transition entirely into the role of high-level educators and strategists.
But I mean, if I'm a buyer and I'm already educating myself using AI, I literally have the world's most powerful research assistant in my pocket. It begs the question.
Why do you even need the agent?
Right. Why do I need them in this new paradigm? Because honestly, it feels like the whole industry is ripe for total disintermediation.
And that is the exact existential threat the industry is facing right now, which is why New Home University's application of AI is focused on synthesis rather than just simple data retrieval.
Synthesis. Okay, break that down for me.
Well, a buyer can easily ask ChatGPT what a builder's addendum is, right? That's just a definition.
Yeah, anyone can do that.
But an AI-empowered agent uses their own custom-trained models to instantly ingest, say, a dense 60-page proprietary builder contract.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it outputs a highly specific 3-page risk analysis that is tailored directly to that family's unique financial situation.
That's wild. So it's basically taking this mountain of legalese and making it actionable for that specific client.
Precisely. The AI operates as this massive multiplier for the agent's analytical capacity. It translates all that complex new construction jargon into digestible local podcasts, custom buyer guides, and these automated yet highly personalized follow-up sequences.
Just AI here acts like a megaphone and a filing cabinet combined.
A megaphone and a filing cabinet. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it amplifies the educational message across different formats like video, text, audio, while keeping all of the client details perfectly organized behind the scenes. So the technology acts as a sort of cognitive exoskeleton for the agent.
That captures the dynamic perfectly. But the source material features a really crucial distinction on this front.
What's that?
It explicitly states, and this is practically a direct quote, that New Home University is not using AI to replace relationships. We're using AI to strengthen communication.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. Because the mechanism at play is really about freeing up human capital. A computer cannot sit at a kitchen table and gauge a family's emotional risk tolerance.
No, definitely not.
Nor can it provide the compassionate professional judgment that's required when a deal inevitably hits a snag. Gathering the data is just the baseline now.
Right, because what's fascinating here is how the source emphasizes that learning just provides information, but implementation is what produces actual transformation.
Exactly. The professional's true value lies entirely in the implementation of that data to produce a tangible transformation in the client's life.
Okay, so you've got this digital footprint as a buyer, and you're heavily reliant on data to understand the market. But what I find really interesting about this blueprint is how that reliance on data naturally extends into the physical structure of the home itself.
Oh, absolutely. The smart home concept.
Yeah, the materials place a massive emphasis on buying a smart home. But I have to push back a little here.
Go for it.
I look at a lot of the smart home integration, the video doorbells, the smart thermostats, the remote lighting, and my hypothesis is that buyers are often just beta testing hardware for tech companies.
It's a very common concern, yeah.
Right. And we're paying a premium for the privilege.
Hmm.
Are we just talking about fancy gadgets that require monthly subscriptions and a strong Wi-Fi signal to work, or is there real value here? Like, what is the actual tangible ROI here for a wealth builder?
Well, your skepticism is totally warranted,
Sure.
and materials themselves actually address this necessary reality check.
Hmm.
If you view a smart home merely as a collection of convenient gadgets, yeah, the ROI is going to be negligible.
Just expensive toys.
Exactly. However, if you evaluate these features through the lens of a future landlord, which, remember, is the core of this wealth-building strategy, the underlying logic changes entirely.
Oh, interesting. How so?
We are talking about the Internet of Things providing property-level telemetry. So a smart HVAC system isn't just about adjusting the temperature from your phone while you're in bed.
Right.
It actively alerts a landlord to voltage drops or pressure irregularities before a catastrophic failure occurs.
Mm-hmm.
Integrated leak sensors can prevent a $100 plumbing issue from becoming a $10,000 flood claim.
Oh, I see. So it mitigates capital expenditures. You're basically building a nervous system into the asset so you can monitor it remotely when you no longer live there.
That is spot on. And beyond just predictive maintenance, there is a distinct financial lever regarding risk mitigation. Advanced security systems and integrated environmental sensors often qualify properties for substantial reductions in landlord insurance premiums.
That's a real bottom line benefit.
It is. The source material also outlines how modern energy-efficient appliances, improved thermal insulation, and EV charging options upgrade the baseline standard of living. This makes the property way more attractive to high-quality, long-term tenants down the road.
But didn't they have a big disclaimer about the energy efficiency part?
Yes, they offer a very strict caveat on that. Actual energy savings are never guaranteed. They are entirely dependent on the specific property, local utility rates, the climate, and honestly, how the homeowner actually uses the systems.
Right, like leaving a window open while running your smart AC unit completely nullifies the technology.
Exactly. Which means the buyer have to really audit the technology before they purchase. You have to ask the builder smart questions. What will require a subscription? What will it cost to maintain? Does this proprietary thermostat integrate with standard hardware, or am I locked into a closed ecosystem forever?
It's all about proactive interrogation of the asset. And, this brings us to the financial mechanics of acquiring these specific types of properties, because New Home University focuses heavily on demystifying new construction financing, right?
Right, which operates on an entirely different cadence than purchasing a normal resale home. They educate buyers on navigating builder incentive, closing cost assistance programs, and these specialized interest rate buydowns.
Okay, let me challenge this entire concept of a builder incentive for a second.
Sure.
Because when I see a developer offering, $15,000 toward closing costs or some massive interest rate buydown, my immediate instinct is that it's a shell game.
A shell game.
Yeah. Aren't you, as the buyer, ultimately just paying for that incentive through an artificially inflated base price on the house itself? Like, there's no free lunch, right?
It is a sophisticated maneuver, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But understanding the builder's balance sheet explains why these incentives exist and how they actually do benefit the buyer.
Okay, walk me through their balance sheet.
Well, builders are highly sensitive to velocity. They have massive carrying costs for the land, the materials, the labor. If a market softens, a builder will almost never drop the base price of the home,
Why not? Wouldn't that help it sell?
because doing so instantly destroys the comparable sales data for the rest of the neighborhood they are still trying to sell. If they drop the price on one, all the future appraisals come in lower.
Ah, I see.
So instead, they protect their base price by essentially giving away some of their profit margin on the back end in the form of closing costs or rate buydowns.
Oh, wow. So you are basically exploiting the developer's desperate need to protect their neighborhood's appraisal values.
Exactly. For a buyer, utilizing a wealth-building strategy, capturing a lower interest rate through a builder buy-down drastically improves the long-term cash flow metrics of the property.
That is a fascinating mechanical insight. But speaking of new construction, the materials bring up another concept that seems really counterintuitive. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, hit me.
They heavily advocate for getting independent home inspections. But why on earth would I need a home inspection on a brand new, just built house? Nobody has ever lived in it, and it just passed all the municipal code inspections.
That's a huge misconception.
Yeah.
Municipal code simply dictates the absolute bare minimum legal standard for a building not to fall down. It does not guarantee quality craftsmanship.
Right.
The reality of modern construction is incredibly complex. A developer hires a general contractor, who hires subcontractors, who often sub out the work again.
It's like a game of telephone, but with power tools.
Exactly. You have shifting weather conditions during framing, supply chain inconsistencies, and just standard human error. An independent inspection provides a rigorous quality control audit. It forces the builder to fulfill the exact tolerances promised in their warranties before you assume the financial liability of the asset.
So you really need an advocate on the ground who doesn't work for the developer. Now, to help navigate this financial liability, New Home University actually details a specific set of resources, don't they?
They do. They offer grant and scholarship opportunities for qualified families. These range from about $1,500 to $5,000 to assist with the homeownership process.
That's a pretty significant chunk of change.
It is, and it's a tangible application of their educational mission. But, and this is a big dig, the source material is exceptionally rigid regarding the disclaimers here.
Right, I noticed that.
These grants and scholarships are subject to strict eligibility criteria, program guidelines, and, of course, funding availability. The final amounts fluctuate based on the specific property, the builder, the lender, the location, you name it.
So it's not just a blank check for everyone who walks through the door.
Not at all. It is vital to understand that not every transaction or every individual will qualify. The objective of New Home University is to educate buyers on how to hunt for every available dollar of leverage, not to guarantee free money.
Got it. Okay, so if you successfully navigate the education phase, optimize all those builder incentives, and close on this new smart home, you finally hit the central pillar of the New Home University philosophy.
Yes, the transition from acquiring immediate shelter to executing the buy-and-go strategy.
Buy and go. This is the mechanical engine of the generational wealth blueprint. Walk us through it.
So the strategy dictates that you purchase a new construction home in a carefully vetted community. You live in this property as your primary residence for a period of 3 to 4 years.
Okay, 3 to 4 years.
Right. During this time, you maintain the asset, meticulously protect your credit profile, and build your financial reserves. After the seasoning period, you evaluate the built-up equity, your mortgage balance, and the current rental market dynamics.
And if the numbers make sense.
If the data supports it, you convert this primary residence into an income-producing rental property. Then, you leverage your position to purchase your next new construction home. And you repeat the cycle.
The financial hermit crab.
Exactly.
But let's look at the underlying logic of that 3 to 4 year timeline, because it's clearly not arbitrary.
No, it's very intentional.
Right, because if you buy a property as an investor from day one, you are getting hit with investment property interest rates, which are significantly higher. And you usually need, what, a massive 20 or 25% down payment?
At least, yeah.
But if you buy it as an owner-occupant, you secure a much lower interest rate and much lower down payment terms. You live there, you fulfill the primary residence requirements of the loan, you let the market appreciate, and then when you convert it to a rental, you've locked in a highly favorable debt structure.
That's the magic of it.
Yeah.
And by focusing strictly on new construction, you are bypassing those massive capital expenditures like replacing a roof or fixing a cracked foundation. Those are the things that typically destroy a new landlord's cash flow in the first 5 years.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Your analysis of the capital expenditure mitigation is exactly why new construction is the required variable for this specific formula. But this raises an important question regarding risk tolerance.
Oh, for sure.
The source materials go to great lengths to strip away any illusions about this process. The buy-and-go strategy is fundamentally opposed to the get-rich-quick mentality.
Because being a landlord is rarely a passive endeavor. I mean, markets contract, major employers leave towns, and tenants encounter their own financial crises and just stop paying rent.
Exactly, which is why the underwriting standards for the individual executing this strategy must be so rigorous. It requires deep financial patience, maintaining substantial emergency cash reserves, and a pristine debt-to-income ratio.
Yeah, the source explicitly warns that property values are not guaranteed to appreciate, and uninterrupted rental income is never a certainty. Securing financing for the second or third property is entirely contingent on how flawlessly you manage the first one.
Right. It requires a board of directors approach to your own life. You can't just wing it. You want to consult qualified real estate, mortgage, tax, legal, and insurance professional to structure the liability properly.
It's calculated acquisition. And when executed with that profound discipline, that first home ceases to be just a static consumption item. It transforms into a performing asset, a vehicle for equity growth, a localized hedge against inflation, and eventually a tangible asset that can be passed down.
It is the tactical initiation of generational wealth.
But managing a growing portfolio of leveraged assets, while likely maintaining your primary career, demands an immense amount of bandwidth.
Oh, a massive amount.
And this is where the source material takes a surprisingly holistic turn. It introduces a variable that rarely shows up in traditional real estate seminars.
Human physiology.
Yeah. The blueprint connects the accumulation of wealth directly to the physical capacity to manage and actually enjoy it.
The materials really highlight the philosophy of Dr. Milton Mills, who is a physician and a mentor to Coach JB. The core tenet they introduce here is that health provides the biological strength necessary to build wealth, while wise wealth building provides families with the resources to make healthier lifestyle choices.
Now, I have to put a quick flag down here for the listener. We are exploring a philosophical framework based on the source text, not dispensing medical advice.
Right. Always consult a qualified medical professional for your own health decision.
Exactly. But looking at the mechanics of this philosophy, it makes total sense. So what does this all mean for the listener? If you are highly leveraged in real estate, your cortisol levels are going to spike when a property sits vacant or a major repair is needed.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Your cardiovascular health, your sleep quality, your cognitive clarity, they directly dictate your ability to weather those financial stress tests without making panic-driven decisions. Financial discipline and physical discipline are basically treated here as two sides of the same coin.
They absolutely are. The rigor required to maintain a pristine credit score and analyze those amortization schedules draws from the exact same deep well of executive function required to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
The material argues that a fragmented, unhealthy operator will inevitably introduce chaos into their financial systems. A smart home and a smart AI system are only as effective as the holistic health of the human being running the portfolio.
It is a completely integrated loop. Better physical health supports the cognitive bandwidth needed to underwrite deals accurately. Accurate underwriting leads to performing assets, which generates the capital required to buy higher quality food, secure better health care, and just reduce overall life stress.
It's all connected.
And if you are looking at mapping out this exact strategy for yourself, the New Home University materials actually provide a very specific, actionable next step.
Yes, they are hosting an exclusive new home construction buyer seminar. It's happening in Laurel, Maryland.
Oh, nice. When is that?
It is scheduled for Saturday, August 29, 2026, and it'll run from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. It's structured to provide an intensive breakdown of this entire ecosystem.
So what exactly are they covering there?
Attendees will explore the specific builder opportunities currently available, analyze the financing structures and interest rate buydowns we discussed, review the realities of smart home integration, and get detailed guidance on qualifying for those grants and scholarships.
Okay, so it's basically a masterclass on executing the mechanical steps of the buy-and-go strategy.
Exactly. The ethos here is to plan the infrastructure before you make the purchase.
Makes sense. And for those who want to examine the strategy closer or understand the criteria for the grants or even secure a spot at that August 29, 2026 seminar in Laurel, Maryland, the source provides a direct line of contact.
They do. You can text the word GRANT, that is G-R-A-N-T, to the number 301-509-7138.
Just to make sure we've got that right, that's texting the word GRANT, spelled G-R-A-N-T, to 301-509-7138.
That's the one. And you can also explore the underlying data and connect with Coach JB and his team directly by visiting newhomeuniversity.com.
Perfect. Well, when you zoom out and look at all these pieces together, it really does form a comprehensive ecosystem. We're talking about using AI to educate and synthesize complex market data. Then you port that logic into the physical efficiency of a smart home to reduce capital expenditures.
Right.
You're exploiting builder financing to optimize your debt structure and using the buy and go timeline to build a portfolio. And you're doing all this while prioritizing the biological health needed to manage the entire machine.
It really is a remarkable reimagining of the standard American dream.
It really is.
But as we conclude our analysis of these sources, this blueprint actually introduces a macroeconomic concept that I think warrants some deep consideration from the listener.
Ooh, what's that?
Well, think about it. If this specific strategy, treating a new home as a 3 to 4 year stepping stone to be converted into a permanent rental asset, is adopted at scale by thousands of families, how does that alter the fabric of suburban real estate over the next 50 years?
Wow, yeah. It fundamentally changes the entire supply chain of housing.
Precisely. If generations of buyers hold on to their starter homes as cash-flowing assets rather than selling them back into the market, what happens to neighborhood demographics and traditional zoning?
That's a wild thought.
Are we moving toward a future where the concept of a transient, owner-occupied starter home disappears entirely? Will it just be replaced by decentralized, multi-generational rental portfolios permanently embedded in every suburban cul-de-sac?
That is definitely something to mull over. It forces you to realize that every single housing transaction is just a ripple in a much larger economic ocean. A house is not just a static finish line where you plant a flag and start moving. It is a highly leveraged data node, a tool for mitigating risk, and ultimately, a dynamic launchpad.
Well said.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the consensus, keep learning, and we'll catch you next time.